want to accomplish today is provide participants with an understanding of how to leverage social media, in particular specific types of social media. Provide the participants with a framework to plan their social media strategy if you are looking to plan one, and then provide participants with specific strategies, tactics that can really be implemented tomorrow, and it doesn't need a lot of technical know-how. You can literally start deploying them tomorrow. So, some administrative pieces before we get going. We will be running a couple of polls throughout the presentation, things around questions around use of social media, use of tools such as that, and there should be 2 or 3 polls that will pop up. They take about 15 seconds to do, but you'll see those when they come up, and we'll just be polling the audience to see where they're at with specific areas in relation to the presentation. We are recording the webinar, so we will be able to provide this. We'll be sending the link out to everyone in about a week and a half or so from now, so you'll be able to go and review this stuff afterwards if you like. If you do have questions and answers, there is in your toggle button on the top right, you can see the double arrows. If you hit the double arrows, it'll minimize it, but it also allows you to type in questions. As questions come up, feel free to type them in so that we can have those questions preloaded when we get to the Q&A session. And finally, just the webinar software. Again, the simplest way is just hit the 2 arrows on the top right to minimize that bar so you can see the full screen. So, I know I've been talking here for about 5 minutes and I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Cameron Laker and I'm the founder of Mindfill Group. I'm a British Columbia Institute of Technology grad here in Vancouver, BC. Personally, from a social media use perspective, I use Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So I've found some ways to manage those different tools myself, but certainly I'm an avid user of this and a bit of a junkie when it really comes down to leveraging social media and understanding it and really trying to stay on top of what the latest and greatest is. A little bit about us. I founded the company in late 2005 with a very specific focus on the retail industry in relation to our service recruitment process outsourcing. So what we pride ourselves on is we like to believe that we're on the cutting edge as far as how to use social media in a practical use in the world of recruitment. So there's a lot of theory and a lot of information out there, but we've really focused a lot of time developing best practices, and I'm going to share some of those with you today. We've just recently been ranked the 8th fastest growing company in Canada on the Profit Hot 50, something that we're very proud of. And from a company size, we've got 20 employees full-time, and we've got a pool of contractors that delivers for our clients, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that in a second. And you can see just some of the clients that we have on the left-hand side. What our core offering is to retailers, so this will help frame what we do. We deliver 2 fully phone screen qualified candidates for every single store vacancy within 72 hours for our clients. Basic benefits that our clients receive is we help them avoid costs by reducing and redeploying advertising spend and people spend, helping our store managers and our clients save approximately 4.5 hours per week, averaging under 4 days from the time to hire from an overall perspective, and reducing turnover by over 50% for multiple clients, particularly in the challenge of under 30-day turnover, people that get hired and leave right away. So the way we do this, very simply, and this is my last Mindful Group slide, then we'll get into the guts of the presentation. What we do is a store manager's got a vacancy. They log on to our hiring manager portal. They upload or they add a job. Takes about 15 seconds to do that. We post that job out on our client's career site. We use all the tools to go source candidates 365 days a year for them under our client's brand, which we build their database. We process all the applicants through what we call smart screens and electronic assessments to see if they first would be a fit for the company. We then run phone screens and match candidates with those specific vacancies. Finally, we provide those shortlisted candidates back to our store manager through our portal. They interview and make the hire. They then simply log back into the hiring manager web portal, denote which one's been hired, and then we push all that information to your HRIS system and then provide detailed reporting. So just some shots. These are some examples of the portals that we've built. A shot of the hiring manager portal from how they go add jobs and view candidates, and then finally a quick example of a talent portal. So we basically manage the entire retail recruitment function. We manage all your vendors and advertising spend. Pricing includes all necessary people, tools, technology, screening assessments. Ultimately, our value proposition is 2 candidates in 72 hours, and business case saves time and cost while improving quality of your workforce and the stabilization of your workforce. So that is it for over Minefield Group. I just got a note here that I'm talking a little bit fast, so I will slow down. I wanted to get through that section very quickly because I know everyone's on this webinar to learn about social media, not Minefield Group. So as I jump into it, what I want to start off with is really quickly to look at the realities of Facebook. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click in here, and I'm going to click into multiple websites as we go through this. But here's some of the latest stats from Facebook as it just loads here. So you can see Facebook now has over 3 million active users, and on any given day they've got 150 million of those 300 million actually log into the site. What's interesting about this is what we've been finding is the average user has about 130 friends, and what's really interesting about that is if you think back to your sociology classes, there was, I believe, it was Dunham's theory around social, the number of people that you could actually be properly socially connected with, and the number was around 130 to 150. So this was built on way back when there were small communities, but the concept of Dunham's theory around an individual really only being able to manage 130 to 150 social connections actually is very, very applicable in the world of Facebook as well. There are more than 45 million status updates each day. So I'm just going to close my Outlook there. So one of the announcements that came out yesterday, and why this is really unique, is everyone's aware of Twitter and the status updates and so forth. What happened yesterday was there was an announcement made, and some of you may be aware that Microsoft has built a search engine called Bing, and you've probably seen it on TV, and it's their latest update to compete with Google for search engine use. Now, the announcement that came out yesterday is both Bing and Google will now be cataloging status updates from Twitter. So what this means basically is a couple different things. One, Facebook will follow suit. So this idea of a real-time search engine is starting to become very much a reality. When you think about Twitter and you think about Facebook and the idea of status updates, it really is, if you could search all those status updates, you essentially have a real-time search engine on the conversations or things that are happening on the web within minutes. Along with that, as everybody knows that a lot of news that has come out, Twitter updates actually beat any of the major news outlets as far as updating people. So it's also a way for the syndication of the status updates through these major search engines will essentially allow people to get the news almost real time, faster than they can get it through, many times through a major news outlet. But there's also implications for recruiting for this. So the status updates are substantial, and again, I just want to touch a little bit on that. So we've got the next piece here that I want to set up a little bit. So this is the 2006 census data in Canada. So you can see here the age groups of how many people and the percent of those age groups, male and female, in Canada. Now, as of yesterday, there are, as far as profiles in Canada, there's 6 million, basically 6.1 million males on Facebook in Canada and 7.1 million females on Facebook. Now, this includes the entire population. What's interesting and why this tool is becoming more and more powerful from a recruiting perspective is if you actually look at the core of the age group that's using Facebook, which is 15 to about 49, which is about 90% of the user base, if you apply that grouping against the total number of Facebook users, what you've got here is an extremely high percentage of Canadians in this age group on Facebook. Now, this isn't a perfect number, and I should mention that I'm making some assumptions here. I'm looking at that age group and assuming that 100% of users are between this age. So these percentages won't actually be as high, but extremely, extremely high. It surprised me to see that was that much of a difference between the females and males. But more or less, is what we've got here is we've got, from a working population or who typically retailers are targeting, Facebook is absolutely a tool that we should all be using because of just the sheer access to people on that site. when we talk about social profiling, I did a blog post about a month and a half ago, and it was about social profiling and very specifically a tool that Forrester has built. When you look at people and how there's really 6 ways to kind of categorize people as far as how they use social media. And the tool that I'm going to show you here shortly actually breaks it out into age groups. So creators, these are people that they write blogs, upload video, basically user-generated content. Critics are people that post reviews, comment on blogs, participate in forums. Collectors, they're basically collecting information, tagging, using tools like Big. Joiners, these are people who join social networks. Spectators, consumers, they consume social media content. They just basically just read it and consume it. And inactives, obviously, are people that do neither. They neither consume it or create. Now, the tool that I want to show you here, and this is all, I'm all building up here into these strategies, which you'll see shortly. Again, this tool is actually, the link of for this tool is actually available on a blog post on our site that's called What's Your Social Technographics Profile. So what's interesting is Forrester has actually looked at, with these definitions, they've actually been able to look at age groups. Now, there isn't one for Canada, but the U.S. and Canada are very similar in this. So if I was building, so let me just step back here for a second. If I was going to go look at building out a social media strategy for my organization for the terms of recruitment, I'd want to understand who would I be looking to recruit in specific age groups, because that's going to determine the type of social media strategy I should put in place. So you can see here, if I was targeting 18 to 24-year-olds, and let's say I was targeting, well, we'll just do it general, 18 to 24. What you're seeing here is a couple things. From their research, it shows that 46% of individuals in the ages of 18 and 24 create content, YouTube videos, blog posts, things along those lines. 50% of them are critiquers. Now, I should mention, not each one of these individuals fit into one of the silos. It would be a match. Like they'd be members of multiple different profilings. You've got joiners, 85%, spectators, 89%. Only 3% of this age group is inactive on Facebook. You can see here when you get into some of the other demographics, you can see how this has changed. Very small creators, high spectators, inactives, collectors, critics. Again, it's 55 and older, right? You can see how this changes. This is a great tool to start to understand what kind of information you should be putting together. So to give you an example of how you could use a tool such as this to go and think through your social media strategy is if you were targeting, say, this age group and you were targeting males. The majority of these people are spectators and they're joiners. So, social groups and Facebook fan pages and so forth, this would be a likely strategy to go do. They're not going to be, there's a good chunk of them who are creators, but it's not as high as the 18 to 24. So what this allows you to do, this tool, is to think a little bit around, okay, who really am I trying to talk to and what type of content? So you obviously wouldn't expect a 55-year-old plus side to really, you're not going to be able to find them creating content for the most part. It's going to be difficult. And there's also a high percentage of them who are inactive. So I thought that was valuable just because it's a tool that we actually use whenever we go and deploy a social media strategy to make sure that our strategies align really with that demographic. So when we get into strategy development, when it comes to social media in the world of retail recruitment, in my opinion, there's really 5 objectives that you should have. One being flat out to reach more potential candidates, so just to broadcast the message deeper and get more people coming through the pipeline. 2 is keep past applicants and candidates informed. 3, make it this, another key objective is to make it very easy for people to apply and connect with your company, whether it's through Twitter or Facebook, or build some kind of a relationship with you on the internet. To have employment brand content that people can pass along to their friends. I'm going to spend some time at the end of this presentation talking about employer referral campaigns and some of the new software that's available for companies to really leverage their employee base through tools such as Facebook. And then engage applicants and candidates to encourage continued interest. So why this is becoming, and especially the number 5 one's really important, is as retailers are and overall, the candidate market right now, we're in a great spot because there's multiple applicants, and everybody remembers what it was like a year and a half, 2 years ago, where there was just not enough candidates on the market. So what employers